There we go. Sorry, guys, I still have a button broken. It's not as smooth. This week on the podcast is Armored Core 6, an S-tiered mecha game. Mendachi makes the case. Gaming servers are just going up in price. Gaming services, I should say. And we'll tell you who is next. And of course, we've got Deals of the Week. Roll that intro.
I'm wondering why.
Welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I am your host, Danny K. With me, the wonderful, the beautiful, the soon-to-be married Mr. Greenlee.
Howdy. Yeah, I'm getting married next week on Friday, the 15th. So, I don't think we're doing an episode next week. I think we had a pre-recorded one that's going to be going up.
Yeah.
Pretty neat. But I'm getting fucking married. We've been together for like 10 years though, so it's like we're already married anyways. We're just like putting it on a piece of paper and having a celebration with friends.
You get
which I'm super excited about.
You get tax credit now.
Yeah, now the government knows you're married.
Yeah, I mean, anything to leech our income. Classic.
So yeah, welcome to the show, Green. Mendachi, we're joined by you. You're spooky and ookly. How are you doing today?
The leaves have started to fall, which means that my power is growing. And, I'm still looking at the clock. I've got about 9 days till early access of Mortal Kombat. So we'll be playing some Mortal Kombat like ASAP. And then the next day, we're going to take a short break to go and hang out with Green and his lovely wife-to-be. And afterwards, it will be a weekend full of debaucherous lounging, tons of fatalities, and probably, I don't know, some takeout.
Hell yeah.
And that is how I will be enjoying our 5th year anniversary, because netted me a good one that loves fatalities just as much as I do. So it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, make sure that you bring an appetite and thirst, because McKenna's dad was very enthusiastic about how much booze we should have. So we have fucking 3 kegs of booze.
Jesus, Lord have mercy.
3 kegs of beer, and 2 like wine kegs, which are like 20 liters, so not big.
Oh, it's a fancy
But,
boy.
I mean, it's a lot of alcohol.
So yeah, this would be a good time to kind of reiterate, no live show next week. If you do join us live, thank you very much. We appreciate if you guys join us live, but we do have an episode that will be coming out to podcast platforms and YouTube. We think you guys are going to really like it. It's a little bit different than some of the stuff that we've done. So yeah, make sure if you haven't yet that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that on YouTube. That would be, something you'd probably love to see. Otherwise, thanks for watching and listening to the show. We have Deals of the Week at the end of the show. If you can't catch us live, find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. Mendachi, Armored Core 6. Is it an S-tiered mecha?
Terms and conditions might apply, but they actually don't apply to Armored Core 6. And S-tier mecha, I'm going to tell you everything about this mecha. Starting at the very top with some general information about the series and Armored Core 6 as a whole. It is a challenging, mission-based, multi-terrain traversal combat game. It feels and plays kind of like Ace Combat 7 in that like you have a ton of enemies that you got to splash, and the missions are typically objective-based, but they give you enough time to meander and kind of go through everything. Most of the missions, in fact, don't have timers. The game itself gives hard nods to previous titles, going all the way back to like 1997, but you really don't need to know everything that's happened. Each game is more or less self-contained, but if you are one of those people that needs to understand every sort of, tilt of the hat or whatever to everything that's like 20 plus years old, there's a YouTuber for all From Software games. That's Vati Vidya on YouTube. If you just look up Armored Core 6 lore, you'll likely find one of his videos, Dark Souls and Elden Ring, all of that stuff included. So that being said, you don't really need to know squat when it comes to Armored Core. All you need to know is that you hunger for blood, and there's never enough missiles to launch at everything that you can see, and the things you can't see sometimes. So starting out, your base AC or your Armored Core is just a little guy. He's a little dude. You got an assault rifle in your hand, you got some rockets on your back, and you got a cool plasma sword. And that's how you start out. And you're capable of some very basic things. Uh, as you kind of grow, you'll be able to customize the various parts of your AC, such as like your arms, your legs, the actual like chest piece or core, excuse me, your head, and of course all of the weapons and including like your OS chip or your OS board rather can have operations or kind of like upgraded chips put in to make it so that you can you're capable of like quick turn 180 movements, um like special moves, and of course just like a myriad of other things such as like dragging down your missile lock time or making it super fast. Tons of different things here to really play around with and look at. Everything is really hyper detailed, but the only thing that you really need to um, pay attention to when it comes to changing out your parts is if the numbers are blue, it's good. So don't pay attention to like arrows and numbers and stuff. Blue is good. Blue just means things are better. There's uh, some really interesting kind of setups that you can get into. Some arms are better than others when they're handling guns or handling like big ass launchers like bazookas. The varying legs, some are based more on like being lightweight and therefore a little bit more speedy. Some of the lightweight legs actually have I would almost call them like secret abilities. One of them allows you to launch super high up into the air just off of a jump, allowing you to get a lot more vertical, I guess, high ground over your enemy. While there's also an entire tank body that you could put on if you never want to slow down and just roll over your enemies. And you won't be able to fly around very well, but if it's on the ground, it's going to die. Personally, right now, I am a what is called a tetrapod. So I have four legs, and I can just kind of freely float around and shoot at everyone from above. There's a lot of different back attachments, whether that's railguns, missile launchers, there's shields and shield generators, um, plasma rounds, which will just kind of like turn off their systems for a little bit or sneak up on them and detonate in a wide kind of area of effect, dealing a lot of damage to anyone caught in the area, whereas missiles are typically more of like a direct kind of like has to hit them directly. So the biggest thing to think about here is blue number good and experiment, experiment, experiment. Um, oh, the left arm, I believe so far, is the only arm that I've seen that you can actually put a sword on. So if you want to be using any sort of like close range melee sort of attacks a la Gundam style, um, it's going to be on your left arm. So you're going to have to kind of, for a time, be focused on just the two weapons you want to carry into each map. However, there is also a chip that you can upgrade your AC with that allows you to have multiple weapons on your arms, and so you'll be able to swap between weapons. It definitely dips your toes in, and then I think probably after about 10 missions, still in chapter 1, you are given a little bit more freedom to kind of mix things up. So there's a lot of parts, a lot of fluctuating numbers and stuff, and it all has to do with what feels right for you. Nothing is necessarily an upgrade from one or the other thing in Armored Core 6. They all kind of feel like side grades, meaning that like each thing, like you're going to find a shotgun. You might find another shotgun, but it doesn't mean that it's better than the other one. It's just different. So maybe instead of doing a huge cone, it's very focused, something like that, or it shoots micro missiles instead of kinetic bullets, something along those lines. So there's not really a bad way to build your mecha, but there is. Like I said, you need to experiment. After having a goof myself, there was something wrong with my Steam Cloud synchronizing my save data, and I ended up having to restart my game after putting 6 hours of playtime in, but then I doubled my progress after 5 hours. And so some of the things that you're seeing on screen are actually from my original time playing. So it looks completely different from what I'm capable of now. But even in this format, I was having an amazing time with this build, and this is very, very basic. So what you're seeing there is within the first couple hours of gameplay. So keep that in mind. When it comes to getting more parts, there's a part shop, so you need money to buy parts, and there's a ton of different ways to actually make more money. So for one thing, you can sell parts back to the store that you've already bought for no money loss, which allows you to try basically anything that you're curious about with no ill like feelings afterwards. On top of that, you can redo any mission that you've done before any number of times. There's a grade system here as well, so striving for the best grade of S is actually pretty fun. It's also a great way to test your build in the field before going out into the unknown. And you can also earn like it would be like I think it's like 5 or 6 parts by performing what are called log hunts. So you're going after different armored core units that are piloted and therefore a little bit more difficult. They typically are a little bit smarter, and they're made out of parts that are available to you as a player. So they're a little bit more challenging. Killing enough of these pilots will net you access to the parts that are like in these kind of tiers almost. So you can also save your builds in a massive number of slots, save slots. And then you're able to swap between them as you'd want. You're even able to download other people's builds that they've done. And then there's like a gameplay mode that you'll unlock a little bit later called Arena, in which you're going to take on other CPU mechas. And then after you beat them, you're able to use their build if you have the parts. So save every different build that you come up with. You can swap to them. Even if you don't have the parts in your arsenal, it'll just ask you if you'd like to purchase those parts at the store in order to fulfill your request. It's pretty sick in that regard. The story itself is, like I said before, mission-based, a lot of leniency in how you want to complete them. They're very forgiving. They allow you to retry missions from checkpoints rather than restarting the entire damn thing. It feels, again, really close to how Ace Combat has been doing their stories lately, which makes sense. It's another Bandai Namco title. But it's still very true to the Armored Core formula. There's a lot of different types of missions, so it's not just like go in and clear the map. Sometimes it's like, hey, go and destroy these facilities, or make it so this transport can't get away, or take down this test unit, this prototype unit, or go through this massive battlefield and then go fight a boss. It's very, very varied, honestly. So it's pretty great. That being said, there's tons of different types of enemies in these missions. So there's going to be situations that make you feel like you're a god, and others that totally humble you. And it really highlights your AC's strengths and weaknesses, which is pretty cool. So there's a lot of time that you're probably going to be spending putting your cool action figure together in the hangar between missions. And it's also a very painless thing to do, something that you can be more excited about rather than, going into a mission. If you don't want to do a mission, you can still test your AC, I should say, in almost like a firing range, allowing you to choose what kind of enemies to spawn and test your AC against, which is pretty nice. If you're having a hard time during a mission and you've already hit a checkpoint, you can also hit the hangar again and mix up your build and go back at it again, which is also really nice. The game itself is this is a really important note, because I feel like a lot of game journalists and clickbait articles have been popping up about how difficult the game is. Specifically saying the first boss, for instance, is overly unfair and difficult. That is not true. It is challenging, but I'd like to say that 93.7% of all the players that own I almost said Ace Combat, Armored Core 6 have beaten that first mission, which includes that last boss at the end. So it's challenging, just not impossible, and not by a long shot. So do not listen to that whatsoever. As far as the gameplay goes, it's pretty different from a lot of things that I have played. Like I said, it still follows that Armored Core formula, but it is tight. The movements are nice and loose. Everything feels super powerful, like when you're doing an assault drive at someone and you're just blitzing towards them. That is so exciting, and it feels like it actually has full momentum. I also just unlocked a special where, while doing that assault drive, I can punch the assault drive button one more time, and my mecha will front flip and land its feet on a mecha that you're attacking. And with 4 heavy legs holding something that is around the neighborhood of 250 tons, it does quite a bit of damage. The best part about this game is the combat, and the wonderful thing is you never really have to wait long to get into the thick of it. So there's not a whole bunch of cutscenes. These are short, and they're typically just like a little screen with text coming up and then some comms chatter. If you've played Ace Combat, you know basically exactly what you're going to get into, but with less like CGI models doing things in the background while a narrator talks. So that being said, the game takes its time before giving you something exceptionally challenging. Most maps are really open, which allow you to kind of tackle them in whatever way and whatever kind of methodology you feel fits your playstyle and your desire. The very first time that I felt like I was in something that was like, oh shit, I really got to change my approach, was a mission called Operation Wall Climber, which was like my 8th mission in Chapter 1. And it has you starting pretty far away, and you have to dive into a combat zone, which is getting just pelted by mortar rounds, missiles which are tracking on you. There's like little mechs with rail guns that are shooting at you, and tons of ground units, all this shit. And the first time I was just being a dipshit, really. I was like, well, I'll just charge forward and see what happens. And of course, there's 2 massive, like, heavy machine gun turrets also there. So definitely think about what your AC that you've built is good at and lean into that. Maybe try a different route. There's no wrong way to play, honestly. The HUD, by the way, is really minimalistic. It's really neat. It really makes you feel like you're piloting something rather than like, oh, you're the mech. So you're just going to go around and do mech things. So like your missile lock-ons, how much ammo you have, your reload time, cooldown time for like your sword, all of that information is stored right around the reticle of your aim, like your aiming or your sight. So it might be kind of hard to see in the gameplay video that we've shared that came from my playing of the game earlier. But that's kind of like where some of my gripes come in, is that like I wish that the top bar on the reticle was actually the enemy's health rather than their stagger meter, because sometimes I'll be like, oh, they're dead, and then I'll just go off and screw it with someone else, and I'll get shot in the back because I'm a dummy. So what I really wish is that this HUD design was a little bit more clear, maybe some fatter gauges, but it just overall not bad. The numbers could be a little bit bigger for how many missiles are are getting locked on. But that's really it. The game doesn't have a lot of hand holding, so you kind of just have to get used to the way that the game feeds you this important information. And that's really it. I don't think that my gripe is something that's going to steer me away, and I'll just have to learn how to translate that in real time as I play more. The biggest thing on your HUD is your energy meter, so like how much you can dash or how much you can assault charge, and then your stagger meter, so how many hits you take before you just get shut down and then you're open to getting hit really, really bad. That stagger system works almost exactly like Sekiro. So when you punch through an enemy's stability, you make them have to reboot their AC, and then you just lay into them with everything you have, and you rinse and repeat until you obliterate them. The ACs themselves are exceptionally customizable. That's kind of the biggest thing when it comes to Armored Core. There's like 128 layers for decals, both preset and self-made and downloaded from other players. There's people that are putting like hot anime waifus all over their ACs. Like that's a thing that you can do. Or like sick flames everywhere. Like, dude, just look at the downloads and just nab them. It's pretty awesome. There's 6 color channels per part on your Armored Core, as well as per weapon, including your shoulder packs. There's also the ability to apply patterns, to add weathering of all sorts. Like, do you want rust, or do you want the paint flaking off, or do you want both? You can add like a metallic shine or plastic shine, paint shine, various levels and differences in matte. So it is literally like sitting down and painting your Gunpla, or like making the Gundam that was never in Gundam. And then
Cheaper.
going out and flying it, but cheaper, so much cheaper, so much cheaper, but probably almost as time consuming. Yeah, the one thing to keep in mind when it comes to customizing is that your decals don't transfer over when you swap out parts, because like your dimensions completely change. It would look like shit either way. So there is a message that'll pop up and be like, "Hey, are you sure it's going to take the decal off?" So make sure you're just backing up your designs. Like if you have a cool design on a specific build, put it in a different slot. Like there's no reason to not. So just save as you want, save as you need, and then remember that other than your AC, you can also change the name of the design in each of those slots, and you can name your AC. So my Armored Core is known as the King in Yellow, and then all of the AC units that I've made are various like golden or like gold yellow animals. So I built a dual shotgun wielding super fast ground unit and air unit that I called Goldfinch, whereas my crazy like crab walking hail of gunfire and explosions is I think it's like the Carian Fenris or something like that, which is golden crab. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then you can change your pilot's name anytime you want to, and your emblem. So my emblem really looks like the yellow sign, or the elder sign, for the King in Yellow. It's pretty cool. You do not change your pilot at any time, because there's not really a pilot to edit. You're kind of like a sealed Arby's roast beef before they cook it. You're just like a bag of meat and juice, and all you know is murder and kill. So like we don't have to like put lipstick on him, or like make it so they have like cool tattoos. It's fine. It's just there to make the machine go burr. So in closing, Armored Core 6 was a game that I was really worried about at first, honestly. After the massive success of Elden Ring, I was really worried that they would change the fundamentals of AC6, and I couldn't have been more misguided. 100% dead wrong. Armored Core 6 is by far the best modern mecha game out there. So if you were curious at all about this game, if you like mechas, anything like that, you should absolutely pull the trigger. And just remember that practice makes perfect, and you can practice as much as you want. Um, Learn the game, figure out what build is super fun for you, and then remember that that build might get absolutely destroyed in one mission, and not in another, and that you have the freedom to go and make more money and build, or swap out parts as you want to. So just because you're failing doesn't mean you're bad. So I highly recommend this game to anyone that was curious, or anyone that has a passing fancy at just cool kind of military-esque combat games, or if you've literally never played anything like this, and maybe you like flight simulators. This is definitely a game to check out. It covers such a wide berth of different veins and avenues of gameplay and entertainment that you might like. So with
There's
that
just so
being
many phallic
said,
jokes.
yes, exactly. Yes, many. Uh, so did either of you guys have any questions when it comes to AC6?
Multiplayer. What's multiplayer look like?
So
Question mark.
no, but there is PvP, and it's so far like I haven't gotten to a point where it looks like anyone can just like hop into my game and fuck with me, like a la Dark Souls, a Red Soul. Um, I think that it's more like Dark Souls 2 Arena, so it's almost like matchmaking, in that both of you guys go to like a hangar room, and you're just like, I wanna see what crazy shit other people are playing, and I'm gonna go against them. So it's very much so otherwise a single player story and kind of game otherwise.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, um, we've talked about mech games on this show before, a couple coming to mind, Exoprimal, Gundam Evolution, right? Which Gundam Evolution didn't feel like a mech game. I think you mentioned that Exoprimal felt like a mech game, but you weren't super impressed with it. Like, in terms of feeling like a mech game, is this better than the games that we've talked about on the show?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing with like a mech game, to me, it your mech needs to feel like it has weight. And when you're firing a gun that is longer and taller than an interstate sign, it needs to feel like you've just like chambered a round that is larger than a family van, and like that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be super slow, but it has to have that oomph. And there's games where they don't necessarily achieve that, but they achieve everything else, and that would be like Konami's Zone of the Enders. Exoprimal felt closer to something like Zone of the Enders because it was more focused on character action, doing cool flips, punching, kicking a dinosaur into the air, and then unloading a whole bunch of guns and stuff. But like the level of customization wasn't there, so it felt very close to like a champ game, which is exactly what Gundam Evolution was. It was that champ team based PvP shooter, with like Gundam theme, and you're playing as the Gundams that you may or may not remember, or may have been around well before you were born. So it's very different. This is it's closer to uh, what I think of when I think of a fucking mech game. You're making your robot. They feel chunky. They feel heavy. They have a lot of punch, and they operate like a giant machine. You feel like you're walking around in Metal Gear. So the other ones, you didn't have that feel. It's so much different. And the gameplay, I would say personally, I love this gameplay so much more than say something like Exoprimal, which was, I felt like a conglomeration of too many things. And then Gundam Evolution, just it was too much one thing, you know, like it felt like Paladins, it felt like Overwatch, it felt like any other champ based objective based shooter game.
Yeah.
But instead everyone was riding around in Gundams. So this feels like its own thing within the niche genre of mech games.
Yeah. I think that's a great answer to that.
Yeah, like if say for instance, like if you really like Mech Warrior, if you've played Mech Warrior before, like that's a great kind of take on like what it's like to be first person piloting a giant like mecha. Like you're not gonna have that first person experience and like feeling like you're basically in Pacific Rim. But if you wanted that, you'd probably be playing, Mech Warrior. This is very much so closer to just feeling like you're the mech and doing cool mech stuff. So yeah,
I think you have done an excellent job summarizing this game. Do we want to go talk about PlayStation Plus raising their prices?
Of course.
Yeah.
Shocker.
This is the third week in a row that we've talked about these game services increasing their prices. But yeah, last week we talked about Microsoft removing their $1 deal for Game Pass just before the release of Starfield. The week before that, we talked about Steam raising their prices. And yeah, now it's time for Sony. Yay! Woo! Yay! So yeah, this is going to be something that's going to impact PlayStation players or anyone who's maybe even looking at getting a PlayStation Plus subscription. I'm going to break down the costs for you guys right now. So the essential plan, the base plan for PS Plus, that was $60. That's now going to be $80 after this change takes place. This tier gave you monthly PS5 and PS4 games to download, some exclusive content, but no access to a catalog for PS3 streaming or back catalog for PS1, 2, or PSP. All right, so that's the essential plan. The PS Plus Extra plan, that's going up and whopping $35 to $135 annually. Again, these are annual prices, so you can expect to pay more per month for the monthly or quarterly. The extra plan gives you everything that the essential plan gives you, plus some downloadable catalog for PS4 and 5 games. Now, here's the real kick in the proverbial nuts. The PS Premium plan is going up a massive $40 annually, and that gives you everything, including the back catalog of PS1, 2, and P games.
Sure.
So yeah, that's the annual price change. Plans shouldn't change until your next renewal date, but if you decide to change your plan, you better do it before basically tomorrow. If you're watching this when it comes out or the day after, you're probably too late, and I'm sorry. Again, no word on monthly or quarterly price hikes yet. They haven't been announced. I'm assuming that's going to be in very similar percentages across the board. And all the prices I gave are in American dollars. Sorry, Canadians and Europeans. I don't have any price increases for you guys. If you're mad about that, let us know in the comments. If that, tell me.
We can always do the math for you.
Yeah, or I can look up and see if they actually are changing prices for those regions. I usually, after a thing like this, we're like, oh, what do you guys think? I think we all know what we think. This sucks. This fucking sucks. This isn't fun for anybody to pay more for this. And it sucks that all of these services are doing it at the same price. But the question that I actually wanted to ask was, would you pay that price still for this service at whatever tier, right? Whatever tier you were thinking about getting, would you still pay that price? Are you still going to pay that price? I want to know from our audience in the comments of this YouTube video, or you guys can reach us on X, Twitter, whatever. Green Elite, hit him with that tag.
At Next to Nothing PC, check it out.
Yeah, so we want to hear from you guys on that, but I kind of want to go around the table. Would any of these sound like a good value to you, Mendachi? Because I know you have Game Pass. I would like to hear from you first.
Yeah, so that was the first thing I wanted to look at was like what the annual price for Game Pass is. Ultimate, by the way, because that is what I actually have. Because we have an Xbox X and I do a lot of gaming on PC and console. For a year of Game Pass Ultimate, it's $164.99, which is pretty damn steep. However, a lot of day one games. So like literally when something releases, I get to play it. So I'm not dropping extra $60. Um, and that goes for both my system and my PC. And like that means that um, I can also go back and play classics. Like lately with my fiance, we've gone back. We played through Army of Two from like the Xbox 360. We just beat Reach on the Master Chief Collection and started Halo 3. Um, I have so many games that are downloaded that are also like niche ass shit. On my PC right now, I have like several Yakuza games downloaded that I've just been kind of like playing through here and there. I got to play Exoprimal. So if you saw my review on that, which wasn't favorable, I was over the moon that I didn't have to spend $60 to find out that I absolutely hated that game. That right there is so much of a value add. And when you actually look at what you get from the PS Plus and all the tiers, dude, it's dog shit. Like to put it simply, it is terrible. Their monthly games are almost always trash. Uh, their catalog is constantly rotating way more than the Xbox Game Pass. Um, and the games that they have access to, you don't like they don't give you the chance to one download them to actually play them. It's streaming. It's cloud gaming. So like if your system is on Wi-Fi, which many houses don't actually have a wired connection to their game system because who knows where you've got your shit hooked up or whatever your setup might be. But like dude, that's terrible. You can't tell me that you're having a seamless experience, especially if you're rural. So, like, what is the point of paying for your most expensive thing when your biggest value add is that you have cloud streaming for games that, you know, uh, maybe 5 to 10, 20, 30 people are going to be super excited about? Um, Playing from like the PSP. That's insane. That is so goofy and backwards. And they still refuse also to create a PC launcher in order to try and mimic some of what Xbox has. Um, but like at this point, it's like the divide couldn't be further apart. I'm paying $30 more a year than what the highest was for PlayStation Plus, and I have seamless transition between my system and my PC, and it's so goddamn backwards, dumb, and goofy.
Yeah, the Sony's been like degrading for the past 4 or 5 years. Uh, it's,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like to the point where like their biggest selling point is the titles that they own, and you're not getting hit with the Plus membership. And if you do get it, it's streamed, and they're starting to like actually realize that they need to put this on PC, like God of War and The Last of Us and stuff like that. So like there's there's no draw for most people to actually go out and buy a PlayStation 5 uh just for those titles when it's just there's no point. It's they're at the end of the rope, and they need to get on board, I think.
Yeah.
Agreed. I mean, like the Game Pass is why we end up buying that Xbox X. It's like I already have Game Pass, so Like, hey man, you want 400 free fucking games with like no immediate overturn as to like when they're gonna disappear? Like, do you think Game Pass would ever get rid of the Master Chief Collection? Probably not. Uh like things that are developed by Microsoft are gonna be there probably forever, versus like I can't just like get PS whatever membership for Sony and like it'd be a crapshoot. I don't know. Like, would I be able to turn on a PS5 right now and just play God of War? Like, could I just download and play God of War right now? What about
If you got the
Spider-Man?
money,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it'll be $60.
fucking useless. Like, it's useless, man.
Like there's only two titles that I would like play PlayStation for now, which it used to be vice versa. Like I was a PlayStation player, and I would borrow someone's Xbox to play Halo. That's it. Right.
Yep.
Now it's like I have Game Pass. I don't foresee getting rid of Game Pass, and I'm just gonna hold out until Spider-Man 2 and God of War 2 come out on PC. It's just like I'm not gonna spend $500 on a console that I'm only gonna play 2 games on. Fuck that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Which I think the key takeaway from this conversation really is that content is king. Content is king. And Sony is kind of failing for at least us in that regard, because I wouldn't pay these prices for pretty much anything there if I even had a PlayStation. I don't see any of these as a good value. Speaking of good values, though, do you guys want to talk about deals of the week?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Leave this goddamn dumpster fire behind us.
Hell yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start us off. Deals of the week this week. Over on Fanatical, you can get the Vertigo Games bundle for $20 American. That's going to get you 5 games if you pay the full $20. Of course, you can always pay slightly less for a fewer games. But that's going to include A Fisherman's Tale, Traffic Jams, Arizona Sunshine, After the Falls, and Unplugged Air Guitar. I think Arizona Sunshine is the one that kind of caught my eye. I remember seeing like the E3 trailer for it. I'm like 90% sure that there's like another one coming out. Let me double check. It's like
That's the one with like zombies and like goofy cars and like Technicolor, right?
Yeah. Arizona Sunshine 2 is coming out, and it's supposed to be VR too. So yeah, go check that out if you are interested in zombie stuff. I think at least getting Arizona Sunshine would be a good get for you. How about you, Green?
Well, there's a big old Bandai Namco sale going on right now, and it extends to the One Piece franchise. There is a game that was like I don't think any of us knew came out. It's One Piece Odyssey, and it has fantastic reviews. It came out January 12th of this year, 2023. It's 40% off right now. I'm actually thinking about scooping it up. That ends on the 14th. It's $35.99. It's a One Piece JRPG, and the aesthetics are fantastic. Like it's open world JRPG set in One Piece. So like, what is there to miss?
Is the story actually just One Piece, but in the Iliad or in the Odyssey?
It I don't know. It could very well, yeah. I mean, it's got like Luffy in there.
Luffy is playing Odysseus. They got to kill a Cyclops.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Alvito is
flowers.
Alvito is kind of a Cyclops at the beginning, so
spoilers.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's kind of good actually.
Episode 1, episode 2, Alvita. I mean, if it's 1999, I'm sorry, I will put a spoiler tag next time I talk about anything from 1999.
Mendachi, what do you got?
Yeah, also from that Bandai Namco sale, because this is too damn good to pass up. Plus, I'd already brought it up in my review. Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown has a hella fine sale going on right now. The 85% off of this game, making it only $8.99. This game is stupid fun. Brent bought it for me last year. It is the perfect mix of Top Gun meets anime, and you smash that shit together, and you are part of a suicide squad, and you are an ace pilot who has been framed for killing the president, and you need to clear your name while also, helping the military against the Liberation Front. So, take that how you will. The story is awesome. The voice acting is phenomenal. And the gameplay is so sick. This is a game that I have also bought for friends that have ever had like any sort of passing interest in something like this. For $8.99, you can't go wrong. Even if you've had less than a passing interest, check it out. It might awaken something in you for either flight simulators or to potentially play Armored Core 6. And if you can't afford Armored Core 6 right now, this would be a really fine backup. Many thanks to Sugar Daddy Brent. I should have actually added at the beginning of my review, Insane. He was the one who bought me Armored Core 6 every week. I feel like I've been just been like, so like Brent is treating me like his stepson.
Trying to buy your love.
You only have to send him a shirtless pic every Saturday. It's no big deal.
It's true. But yeah, that's just it. So again, 1,000,000,002 thanks to my homie, my bestest buddy Brent, of Podcast for Two People and all that beyond. Which, by the way, ahead of our closing notes, be on the lookout for a new episode of Podcast for Two People as we get closer to getting back on a normal schedule after a nice long hiatus.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, let's just kind of keep up that conversation. Like, what do you got coming up on your channel or on your shit? Anything else?
Yes. Yeah. We covered a little known movie, a little splat stick, a little gross, a little indie from back in the day, one Slime City. So definitely be looking for Podcasts for Two People on your podcast platforms of choice. And we'll be bringing you the raunch and tons of laughs and a little bit of an interesting introspective into this movie. And there will be more to come. And while you're waiting, we have over 100 episodes in our backlog if you would like to check that out. We have also done retrospectives into some game series and industry heads, such as Itagaki, the man behind Dead or Alive, and Ninja Gaiden. So definitely give that a look-see. Again, that is Podcast for Two People on your podcast platform of choice.
Oh yeah. Green, what do you got coming up? Anything?
If I do anything, it's probably just gonna be like just streaming hunts or Valorant, maybe some Tarkov on like TikTok and Twitch. We'll see. I'm kind of playing it by ear, and I think we're leaving Friday night or Saturday morning, not sure which. So I don't have a whole lot of time at home. Shit's starting to get real and coming up real fast. So
yeah,
hopefully I'll have some content, have some time, but I can't guarantee it. So, but if I do, TikTok, Twitch, all that jazz is Mr. Green. Check it out.
I am still working behind the scenes on VR Arcana stuff. I should have a bonus episode going up this weekend. And then I finished the first episode of our last session. And then I am currently in writing mode as well. So I am doing all the stuff for VR Arcana. If you want to watch our D&D actual play, go on ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see all that. We have a huge back catalog. I shouldn't say huge. You could probably nail it over the course of a week if you're real diligent about it. If you're looking to kill some time, go check out VR Arcana over here on the Next to Nothing channel. Otherwise, yeah, that's the whole show for this week. Thanks for watching and listening. Your time and attention is always appreciated. If you've made it this far, make sure you drop us a like and subscribe. Also, if you drop a comment, that really does help the show. Drop a comment basically on anything. Tell us if we're doing a good job. Tell us we suck. It really does help us out. Kind of gets us some feedback so we can help improve the show. Yeah. Otherwise, until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye.
Bet your cat
Love
for
you.
me.